Just a quick video for my Tesla Model S 2018. So the issue that I've got is that the front suspension is completely collapsed. So it's air suspension. What happened was we got an error or a warning message on the dash saying air suspension unable to raise. May return on functionality may return on next start or something like that. Car was fine, absolutely fine. So we're about to start a long trip, so went on a long trip. And then after a couple of days, we started noticing that the front suspension the message was still there, and the front suspension started to sag, and it's gradually got worse and worse. It's now completely collapsed. So I've been on the Model S Facebook group, and suggestion is that potentially, because it was -6 when we first caused the compressor to freeze, which has then blown a fuse, which means basically the compressor is no longer running. Rear being up and front being down suggests that the front struts probably have a leak. So what I've done so far, if I just take a step back, is I've just taken off the big cover at the top, which just pops off, the two side covers which just pop off, and you just have to go down to be careful so that when you pop off over the front adjusters, that it doesn't you don't break those off. You just have to, they pull off around it, they're fairly flexible. So taking those off, and then you've got the final cover which has three of the little, I can't remember what you call them, these little plug clips where you pop up the middle and then remove all three of those. And then there are two clips right down the bottom here that hold it in place at the front. You have to unclip them. If you reach right down and unclip those, on mine it was actually broken on one side, so that's what it should look like. So you basically have to get your fingers in, pull this away. On this side mine seems to have been broken off, which is not ideal. And then it also means that my seal around the air intake here is a bit iffy, so that's another job. Anyway, once those two clips are disconnected, there is a drain hose either side, because that tray is basically just for collecting water, protecting everything else. So we've got one this side, no idea where it goes, looks like it's not connected to much down there, not sure, I'll look at that. And a bigger one this side, pull those off. Really helpful to use a set of these, because it's difficult to access, so you can kind of lift the tray away and then use a set of those hose removers to pull it off. Okay, on to the interesting bit. So I've got the fuse diagrams which I've downloaded. I've checked that mine is, I think, SOP8 version of the car. Used ChatGPT and my VIN number to work out which model it was and which circuit diagrams to look through from the manual. That's then given me the right circuit, the right Fusebox diagram with all the lists of fuses. I have to turn it this way up to read it, but I've searched it for air suspension and found that F117 in the middle of the picture there, air suspension control valves, is one fuse, and then the other related one is F154, which is a 40 amp J type fuse, is another one. And so if I turn that back upside down, what we've got, if my finger will point it out now upside down, is we've got F154 here, and then the two along from there for the 10 amp is F117, which relates to F154 there and F117 here. So I've pulled the 10 amp fuse, absolutely fine. I've then pulled the 40 amp fuse, and I don't know if you can see, but the 40 amp fuse, it doesn't have the bar across, so it's obviously blown. Compared with these, where if you see just below the 40 on the lower one, you can see a bar going straight across, whereas on here, in the window, very helpful, there's not a bar, so nice. So that tells me that F154 fuse has blown, which is the air suspension compressor. So exactly what I expected, air compressor fuse has blown. So hopefully that means that my air compressor is actually still good. And so the fix for me right now will be replace that 40 amp fuse, or at least see if the compressor will run to pump the struts up. And that tells me that I'd probably, then I know that I do have leaks on the front shocks. But that's where I'm at. Hopefully that's useful to anyone else who also seems to be suffering this issue. I've seen lots of posts with the same error. I think it was, I've got the TAS, the Tesla air suspension system, because this is one of the because it's a facelift model. So I think before that it was EAC something about Conti, but you basically want to check which version you've got. But I seem to have seen lots of people that have got the same error message, which was a TAS something error. Replaced the air compressor fuse, which is that 40 amp L type fuse. Make sure you get the short one. There is a long type and there's a short type. Just replace like for like. I think actually, given the space above here, you probably could have got, yeah, you could easily have got the long type in, but I think it's probably better just to replace with it. I got it from IMF, Independent Manufacturers, about £3. And actually, like to get all of this stuff off, didn't need any tools at all to get here. So if this does happen on the road, you can take all these covers off, get to the fuse box and replace the fuse box, which does make sense, but I just assumed you couldn't. The only thing I haven't explained on the previous video was taking off the duct for that. You'll see when you go to take it off, it's literally you just pull it off from the front, push it back a bit, and then I think in the service manual it says rotate clockwise. That might be on the right hand drive, so you're probably anti-clockwise. But it's certainly not something to worry about. It's just a bit of plastic. As long as you locate it correctly, you're fine. The cause for me was a blown fuse. Probably going to be similar for most people. I say the cause. The root cause is probably that my front struts are probably leaking, or there's a leak somewhere else. Could be on the block, the valve block. Yeah, when I jacked it up, I think I got it on video, so if I do, I'll have included it in there. When I started the car, put it, and I had to make sure the cable was unplugged and it was turned on, then the compressor kicked in, and as it was raising the suspension, there were a couple of points where it got stuck, and there was some fairly uncomfortable sounding cracks or creaks, and as you could just see in the video probably, that it kind of jumped up a little bit, so it obviously just got stuck, maybe corrosion on the struts. Yeah, I'm very pleased that I've managed to get the suspension back to a drivable state again. Car is setting at the very high setting, so I am going to drop it back down to standard, but it wouldn't let me do it at the minute, so I'm going to just drive around the block, set it down to standard. And I guess the other question is, I'm not sure if it's supposed to